What is going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast, and I am your host, Matt the Oyler. The premise of the show is to bring on athletes or anybody involved with fitness to help bring you motivation, inspiration, and good tips to be the best you. Before we get into anything, I need to thank Foley's MMA. Check them out online. Check out their class schedule. Come feel the vibe of this place. It's awesome. I'm going to thank them for opening their doors to us and giving us a home. We also want to thank myteamtrainer.com, the best speed and agility drills you're going to get for only $5 a month. Also, go check out store.undefeatedbychoice. We're not Louis Vuitton, but we are undefeated in comfort. So go check it out. Without any further ado, let's get to the show. And we are live on a very special edition today on the Undefeated by Choice podcast. I'm joined here today on Father's Day with my father, the man who brought me into this world, taught me everything I know, Mark Oyler, or Elder Oyler, as you can see. He's actually currently serving an LDS mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he took a little extra time out from serving the Lord today to come out and serve his son and help him out. But we really wanted to, we want to do something special for Father's Day. We want to give a shout out to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Keep doing a good job. Raise your kids right. And maybe one day they'll have their own podcast. Normally we do a training session to begin with. Today we opted out of that because what am I going to teach the man who taught me everything? What do you have to learn from me and all your years of experience? So we did that. We skipped that. You took some of the early pictures, and we got some of the social media stuff done. But we want to jump right into it. Give you some time. I guess the first question we need to ask is, how did you raise such an amazing human being?
Well, it was a long go, but I just flew by the seat of my pants, like I've done all my life. You
made it up as you went along.
Whatever works, whatever gets you to shut up, or whatever gets you to do what I've asked you to do. That's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I think you did. I think you did a good job at it. A lot of people, or this whole podcast is us talking to athletes. And it has not changed today. We're still sitting here with an athlete, a state championship football player, a wrestler, and an avid tennis player. And how old are you?
Absolutely. I'm just about 68 now.
Just about 68 years old. Gets out how many times a week to play tennis?
Oh, we're twice
a week
for maybe a couple hours per.
These are the genetics. This is where I'm coming from. This is what I'm going to be. 68, almost 70 years old, still getting out and doing the thing. What do you attribute that to? How are you able to just go? I see a lot of 68-year-olds, 65-year-olds, 60-year-olds that just can't get up, can't move. You're like I said, you're still getting out, and I know you're gonna be humble because I didn't get any of that humbleness from him. I stole it all. I sucked it out of his life. But there's something that you're doing. There's something that maybe your diet or whatever you're doing, your mentality, what causes you to be able to just keep going at this age and look so good and feel so good and just do what you do.
Well, that's nice of you to say. Well, it really is. A lot of it's just luck. It really is genetics. We've got guys out there that are 6-7 years older than me, and they're still playing as good or better than I am. And then I know a lot of guys that they can hardly get out of bed. So it's a lifelong effort to keep yourself in some kind of fitness. And it has to be diet. It has to be activity. It has to be not just laying down and waiting for old age to suddenly absorb your life.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes nothing you can do about it. Accidents and say genetic problems with backs. I've been lucky, but I've also had that mentality that I don't want to stop yet.
Yeah.
And I have a great time. We got about a dozen guys that come out. Say that we're ranging in age from 22 to 75.
Yeah. Wow.
And we just have a great time together.
Yeah.
And you try and fix up teams so because there's a couple of young guys that just blow you away.
Yeah.
anyway,
if you get the right team together, you might stand a chance.
Yeah, and then we have some great matches, so it's fun. But I have to ask you. So am I the first white shirt and tie guest you've had?
Yes, our first guest was no, he had a polo on. Okay, no, you are our first white shirt.
So we're already in groundbreaking territory.
We are. This is a first.
Yeah.
This is a Undefeated by Choice first, and I kind of hope it's the last.
Yeah. And I'm hoping.
I feel so underdressed right now.
I'm hoping the missionary thing. I mean, I hope you don't get death threats. Or
no, I don't think we will.
No firebomb threats.
No.
Okay.
I mean, if they want to have an issue with you wearing that, they can take it up with me.
Okay.
They can take it up with me and Nick. So you mentioned nutrition. You mentioned diet. And because diet is something that was in our family, it wasn't a big thing for a long time. We were known as the hostess house. That's what my friends called our house, was the hostess house.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because we had them on hand. Something changed, and it was you first. And so where did the change come from? And then what is your diet like now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got overweight and lazy, and then I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and started on some medications, and so the diet changes then at that point, and my activity increased, and but I didn't really feel that was the way I wanted to go. As I did more reading and studying about diabetes and can it be reversed. Some doctors say yes, some say no, but I think there's more of a consensus now that it really can be controlled with diet. And so I got off the medications, and so and it's basically it's nothing new, nothing magical. It's stay off the refined sugars, the refined flours, the processed foods. They're killers as far as raising your blood sugar level. And I talk, and so on my own, I kind of just stopped taking these medications. I just didn't want to.
Not recommended, but
no,
I mean, if you can do it.
Obviously, I play a doctor in the movies, but I'm not a real one. But the last doctor I talked to, because in the last couple of years, I see all these advertisements on television for all these new medications to lower your A1C and your blood sugar. And so I was asking him, are any of these, should I get on these? Are these something new? And he said, when you're dealing with these blood sugar levels and you're trying to control it, he said, diet is like a giant beach ball. And these medications are like little ping pong balls. So if you want to make a big effect, a permanent effect, the diet has to be it. If you wanted these other things, they might give you a little boost here and there, but it's not the way to go. And I believe that, and that's where I'm trying to stick to. I'm not 100%er. I have my bad days, but generally speaking, I try and watch it and maintain a steady weight and stay active, and it seems to be controlling what I want to control. So
I remember that time, and I think that was about the same time you went and saw Don Tolman.
That's Don. The Don got me going.
Don Tolman.
Don
Big
man.
shout out to Don Tolman. I think he probably saved our lives and yours, and I feel like mine too, because where this started, for me, the interest in food and the interest in nutrition was after you went to a seminar he was doing. Mm-hmm. And you came back and you were excited about it, and you bought some books from him, and you were explaining to me how carrots are good for the eyes, and if you cut a carrot and you look at it, it looks like the iris of an eye, and walnuts are good for the brain, and if you look at a walnut, it's shaped like a brain, and grapes are good for the heart, and if you look at a cluster of grapes, it looks like a heart. Yep. And we started associating all this food with what it actually is like good for your body, and that's when I started to really get interested in nutrition, but more like whole foods, and not so much supplements, and not so much. I work out every single day, and I don't drink protein shakes. I try to get everything I need through actual food. I'm not saying that no one needs to do that, but for myself, I don't drink a lot. There was a time that I was drinking a lot of protein shakes, so I'm not against them or for them. But I do like to get more of my nutrition from natural foods, and it came from oh, that makes sense. A walnut looks like a brain, and it's good for the fats are good for your brain, and so that like piqued my interest. It took me a while to get on board with it. I still was overweight for quite a few years after that, but I would think about it, and it was that beginning when you decided to change your diet and kind of get your life under control, and you stopped buying Hostesses and stopped filling the house with all the delicious stuff that I kind of had to get on my own, and so again being in that household and having that kind of guidance was something, and also having that guidance and watching you say, okay, something's wrong. I have diabetes. I'm not going to just sit with it. I'm not just going to take meds the rest of my life. I'm not just going to accept it. Like, I'm going to try to do something about it. I'm going to do everything. And you educated yourself. And that's so big that people just won't do. They just won't educate themselves on things. And you're willing to like be a guinea pig. You're willing to like give it a try. And that's, something as a little kid, you're sitting back, you're watching your parents do this. You might think you're just doing it for yourself, but that is a guidance that I was able to see.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm where I'm at today, and I say this all the time. I just sent a picture of us to someone, and I said that this is the man who made me I am today. I give so much credit to my character and who I am as a person because of the way you raised me, at
least the good parts, all the good parts,
Yeah,
and
don't none of the bad parts.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get that. None of your faults I absorbed. None of them. Not a single one.
Okay. Let me just say this again about Don Tolman. So he has, 4 or 5 pillars of health, and they're so simple. Walking, lots of walking, which anyone can do.
Yeah.
Lots of water, good fresh water throughout the day. Whole foods. I guess there are only 4, and the 4th one is just kind of healthy relationships, mental attitude.
Yeah.
And that's such a simple formula
Easy.
that anyone can do.
Right.
I mean, it's great to have a Foley's gym, and people that are into that. It's a great thing. But if you don't have that, just get out and walk.
Yeah.
Drink your water. Stick to whole foods. Try and keep your life in some kind of a stable, loving relationships with people, and life can be great.
I believe that, and that's beautiful. And that's one of the I guess why I live my life the way I live it. The pillars in which I live my life is through those principles, trying to foster loving relationships with people. I try to stay active.
Speaking of that, do you recognize this tie, Matt?
No.
Well,
Did I get it to you?
You bought this tie for me for your wedding in your very short-lived marriage.
So thanks for bringing that up.
So we talked about relationships. I thought this would be appropriate. So out of that short-lived marriage, 2 wonderful things: a beautiful granddaughter and this really cool
awesome tie. Yeah, that awesome tie. Is it a 5-bar? Is it a 5-bar tie?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't get you anything less than a 5-bar tie.
It's a nice
nice
tie. I like
well, okay. I mean,
sorry,
no. That's actually I like that you brought that up, because a lot of people look at my divorce with Mary and they wonder how her and I can stay on such good terms, and how her and I can communicate so easily and so well, because marriage is hurtful. It hurts. It's sad. It's it's not great. It's an ugly thing.
You mean divorce? You mean
divorce? No, I mean marriage. No, marriage.
Oh, marriage.
No. I mean divorce.
Okay.
No, I mean divorce. No, divorce is it's a terrible thing. But Mary and I have been able to foster a very good relationship, and we help each other out. We're there for each other, and I attribute that again to your and my mom's divorce. There was never any hardship. There's never any hard words towards each other. You backed her, you supported her. I know she'd be like, "I want to call your dad," and we knew that Dad was going to take her. You're going to tell us, listen to your mom. And I remember sitting at a junior high thing. It was some talent show. I don't even know why we were there, because I was not doing anything at the talent show. But why were we there? Why did you make me go to that? Anyways, I don't know. But I remember I was sitting there, you were on one side and Mom was on the other side, and I was holding both your hands. And I remember thinking at junior high level, this is so nice. This is so nice that I can sit here with both my parents, even though they're divorced, and there's no animosity, there's no hurt. And Delane, my wonderful stepmother, who's here in the background, she gets along with my mom as well.
Yeah.
And so I can attribute, the way that I was able to handle my divorce and the situations I went through, and I was able to say I'm not going to live that life of like anger and hatred. I'm not going to live that life of fighting. Like, I know that it's possible for someone to split up and them to just say, okay, it didn't work, but that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. We have a family together. We have responsibilities, and let's go from there. And, she was on board with that. And so, I can... so I'm glad you brought that up. Glad you brought up my marriage. I never have an issue talking about that. And again, yeah.
Well, even if you had, I would have brought it up anyway.
Yeah, obviously, there was no plan on that. I didn't see that one coming.
Just wanted to make sure you
know where I got that tie. Well,
tie.
Yeah, I guess our colors were blue, sapphire blue. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It looks good on you. I'm glad you wore it today. Let's see. I wanted to talk about so raising an athlete. I grew up always playing sports. I feel like I came out of the womb playing sports. Like it was, and I know I started playing football at 8 years old, and you were at every single practice from rec, and you and my mom had been divorced at this point, and so you would drive down every single day, and you never missed a single practice all through my rec years. You never missed a single game that I played in. There's one game that you missed, and you were like, oh, like I'm going to miss your game. And I actually got injured like 2 days before before the game, and I didn't actually play. So you never missed me play a single game. As a parent, because I'm not there yet, Madison just has gotten interested in kicking soccer balls, so we're going to be getting there soon. But as a parent, how do you deal with raising an athlete, going through the ups and the downs and the hardships and the losses? Because I played on a lot of terrible teams that did not win a lot of games. How do you do that? How do you deal with that?
Well, obviously you've got to deal with each kid individually. I mean, I never pushed your older brother into sports because it didn't seem to be something that was really he was interested in, at least at the high school level.
Uh-huh.
He got involved in a lot of other things, and so you have to let the kid kind of drive where it goes. I mean, I would never want to be one of the like a stage parent that's gonna you need to get out there and fulfill my dreams.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
because I couldn't do that, but. Once you've kind of made that commitment and the kid has got some interest, and you just do what you can to support them. I spent a lot of time trying to find books that would maybe some training techniques. It wasn't much back then. We didn't have the internet.
I remember
it was hard.
Vince Lombardi VHSs that I used to watch at your house. Offensive line from Vince Lombardi. Yeah. I mean, even then it was outdated.
That's the best. That's the best I could come up with.
I appreciated it.
So it's I don't think I went overboard, other than just being there and supporting and trying to find ways to help you strengthen.
Yeah.
But that's what coaches are for.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a coach. I didn't know those things. So as far as dealing with all the losses, I mean that's hard. I mean, I don't that's just your own personal mental makeup. But I did. I screamed at a lot of games, at a lot of refs that out of control. Almost got in a big fight once. If your brother hadn't been there to kind of stop it, and so I didn't do. I do it a little differently now.
Yeah,
realizing that it's not that.
I never
important.
Knew. Yeah, I never knew.
Yeah, you didn't know what was
I had
going
no clue
on,
about that.
So it was just trying to keep you mentally up so that you weren't discouraged after, because most of your teams were losing teams.
Yeah.
It wasn't your fault. You were usually the
Thank
star or
you.
One of the stars.
Thank
I mean, that's, so for me, that was my point of pride. I could watch you and I could see what you were doing, and I knew that you were doing a good job. Sometimes the coaches didn't see it. I saw it.
Yeah.
And
I didn't have too many of those coaches.
Yeah.
Most of my coaches I had very good relationships
with. But it was,
with.
It was just, the whole thing was just fun to do.
Yeah.
It was our life for a number of years. It was your life, and now, of course, we know more and more about the head injuries, and the brain injuries, and I look back now and say, would I have let you do it? I don't know now.
Yeah.
knowing what I know now, I might have had some hesitation, but probably not if you wanted to do it.
I think I did all right. I think
Yeah.
I think I came out clean.
Yeah.
I mean,
how,
I still
how many
take-
fingers am I holding up?
4.
Yeah, okay, you're good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I still take shots to the head, and I'm still, that is a very scary thing, and I think a lot of parents nowadays have to make that decision of are they going to let them do it?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of precautions that can be taken to save the game and make people be able to play it, and just with football alone, just teaching them that the head's not a weapon. Just teaching them to get their head out of the way, and just you can reduce so much just by not taking the shot on the head, and even in MMA, getting good referees that aren't going to let someone just take a lot of shots to the head, which that you think, well, that's what the job is, the goal is, but I mean there's plenty of people who have gone through it. Well, with MMA, there's plenty of people who have gone through it who haven't gotten brain damage. With football, it's a lot less, but that's because you feel like your head is protected. You feel in MMA you're dodging punches.
Yeah.
In football, you're not. You think you're protected, and so you're lowering your head into things, and that's where the problem. So teaching proper technique, it can become a lot safer. You're never going to take the risk out of it, but it can become a lot safer. Let's see. There was a few things that you mentioned. So along with you saying, I wasn't the coach. That was their job, and then you're also talking about you trying to help me out. Like I remember numerous occasions. Now I remember you telling me when I was younger, like you didn't play. I mean, you played, but you're like, I wasn't that great. Of course, being humble and always never bragging yourself up, And so in my head, I'm like, my dad doesn't know that much about football because he didn't play it that much. But I remember numerous occasions where you would pull over to the park and say, let's get out. We're going to work on some drills. And I know there are drills that you had studied for my position because we didn't even play the same position. So there are things that you had studied. And I think that is so important for a child to have that example as a parent. A parent that says, I'm not in this field. This isn't my expertise, but I'm going to put in extra effort because it's something that you're interested in. You were there because I was interested in it, and you were helping out because I was interested in it. And I see a lot of parents who they don't enjoy the sport. They don't enjoy whatever their kids are involved in, and then they might show up, but they're not really present. They're not really active. And how much time did you really spend studying those drills? Did it really take that much out of your day?
No. I mean, I'd just try and find a book with some techniques and read a few things. And so, I just had a very rudimentary understanding of things of how to increase your speed or your agility. But, at the same time, I mean, I have a love for sports, always have. So for me, it wasn't a chore.
Right.
It was something I enjoyed doing.
Right.
And with the hope that it might just give you a little more edge, so and just spend some more time with you in something that we both loved. And if a parent isn't into sports, doesn't love it, I mean, I don't know how you.
Well,
how you can't.
Just on the note of parenting, that was something that, like I said, you probably put in a little bit of effort to study these drills or whatever you had me doing. But those memories are something that I will remember for the rest of my life. And they were also techniques that I learned that helped assist me to become the player that I was and become the athlete that I am. And so it took you a little bit of time, and it had a lasting effect on me. And I think that is what most parents need to dial into. Yeah. That just a little bit can have a massive effect.
Yeah.
So of course this whole episode could just be me thanking you for everything, but I mean, that is one of those things. I was the player I was because of the effort you put in, and not only the actual effort that you put in, but the aid in which you gave me throughout. I remember being in elementary school, going to a high school football camp. Yes. And I remember being in high school or junior high going to a college football camp. Yeah. And then by the time I got to high school, I had to go to the high school football camp. But by then, I had already been with college kids, practicing. And we weren't a rich family. You and Mom always provided. We always had food on the table. We never went hungry, but we didn't have a lot of money. And those camps are not cheap. I know them now. I see as I've been coaching for the past 12 years. I've been seeing, I see the money that goes into all of this, and that is, and that, I always when I built my team trainer, I had it in the mindset of not everybody can afford it. Not everybody is as lucky as I was, and I wasn't lucky that I grew up in a family with money. I grew up with parents who understood how important it was to me and did what it took to make sure that I was taken care of, and that I was able to have these opportunities. And so when I built my team trainer, I said I'm charging $5 a month, and that is my limit, because I want the kids who don't have those parents, or the kids whose parents can't provide like you guys were able to provide. I want them to have that opportunity. I want them to have all the opportunities that I was afforded at a young age. And so again, it wasn't only the physical time that you put in, but I'm sure you had to put in physical time in work to get a little extra money, to stay at work a little longer, maybe an hour longer or whatever, to be able to put the money in to get that.
Yeah.
To be able to get me those opportunities. So again, thank you for that.
It's talking about my team trainer. I mean, I know that's a plug that you're. We don't spend a lot of time talking about, but as I worked with you a little bit on that website, and I've seen some of those drills. And I thought, wow, I wish I had that. It's just like unbelievable what you can pull up, and thinking about what I had available to give you, and now seeing something that simple, that available with that much quality of information. I hope people will take care of it. Will take advantage of it and give their kids that extra boost.
Yeah, like I said, I had the VHS, the Vince Lombardi VHSs, but now the kids can look it up on their own cell phones that they have in their pocket.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. That's why, and I wanted to make it so available to everybody. That was just my number one goal. Before we go on, there's a lot of movement. Delane needs car keys. That's all we need. That's all we need. Delane needs the car keys. As I was moving around, I mean, you were, let's cut the crap and let's get it taken care of.
You're my ride home, by the way.
So. Okay, I can do that. Well, maybe not. You might be walking. Hey, Don Tolman, you gotta walk. Lots of walking.
No,
it's not that far.
I opened that door, didn't I?
Yeah. You set yourself up for that. No. Let's see. There was there was something that I wanted to, when I was driving over here, I was like, make sure you bring that up. And now it has slipped my mind.
Can I talk about one more nutrition thing? Mm-hmm. This is just my little band.
Yeah.
My little bandstand here.
Okay.
My bandstand, grandstand. I don't know what it is, but
language is hard.
I don't. Yeah. There's so many words.
There's so many words out there.
Try and bring them all together.
Yeah.
It's like Steve Martin trying to speak French.
Oh no! Don't do it! Don't do it! Do not do it! No, Nick's giving a thumbs up. I'm thumbs down.
Okay, all right. So like you again, I don't take a lot of supplements. In fact, I don't take vitamins and there's one I take. One I take, and it's vitamin D. Mm-hmm. And that was the other pillar of Dawn. There was one more. It's sunshine.
Okay.
His was get out in the sun.
I would agree.
And of course, what do you get from sunlight?
Vitamin D.
Yeah. And so I take high amounts of vitamin D. I take like 10,000 units per day, which is well above the recommended limits.
Right. Yeah.
And that's because I got involved with a website, a study, this long-term study they're doing on the effects of vitamin D, keeping those levels up. Anytime you go get blood work done, that's one of the things they always check is your D level, and I'm well above what the doctors want me to be at, and I'm fine with that. And I'm going to stay there. Again, I'm not a doctor. I can't recommend this as a medical certainty, but I have a real gut feeling, and from the things I've read, that it is maybe one of the more important vitamins that our body needs, and mainly because I believe, and the studies are beginning to show, that it's an anti-cancer whatever I'm trying to say there. And so, and it's a cheap vitamin to buy. So I just want to throw that out there because I'm just a big fan of this. They call it the D-Action. Yeah. This program they've got going, and anyway, I don't know if you wanted that in there, but
no, I do, because
I just wanted of the things that I have a real interest in, I think are important to me. That's high on my list.
Well, what I want to point out is, anybody who knows me and thinks, who is this guy? Where does he come from? This is the man that I come from. Like the ability to study and believe in a concept and then commit to that concept, commit to that belief, no matter what it is. There's so much that I do that people are like, what? Why are you doing? Like, I'm on a big kick right now where I eat 1 meal a day. I've said, you look at the time when mankind was most efficient, and it was during the prehistoric ages, or when we were, the Cro-Magnon man, we were cavemen, and they were hunting all day, gathering all day, building their own shelters, moving from, shelter to shelter. They were blazing their own trails. They weren't hiking the regular trails. Anytime they needed to get to the top of a mountain to kill something, they had to hike all the way up there through the bushel, through everything, and then they had to kill it. Then they had to bring it back to, I feel like the time that mankind was most energy efficient was during that time. And there's no way that they were eating 3 meals a day. It just wasn't possible. It just was not possible. And so I've gone to, and so now I've even gotten to the point where I am even sometimes less than a meal a day. I might have one big meal, and then I might go 2 or 3 days with just eating fruits and some vegetables, because I feel like we're over consuming food. And so I've made that guinea pig on myself. And at first it started with just 1 meal a day, and people were like, "You're crazy! How can you eat 1 meal a day?" Because I was going from 6 meals a day, the regular, what we've been told is the proper, for the fitness. It was like 6 meals a day. Everyone does 6 meals a day, or 8 meals a day. And now I'm going down to 1 meal a day. And now I'm even less than 1 meal a day, and I'm just a few snacks. And I've never felt better because I'm not afraid to be that guinea pig on myself. Yeah. And, again, I can only attribute it to you and the type of person you are, that you're not afraid to take risks. Yeah. You're not afraid to make yourself to try something that you believe in.
And that's also kind of fits in with the Don Tolman thing, because he was very big on fasting. Yeah. So what you're doing is kind of a hybrid of fasting and then 1 meal. And he did like a 40-day fast just on water, and I think maybe he had grape juice. Yeah. He was just he believed fasting was even more important than nutrition. Yeah. I mean, he's told us that once, that if you got your choice between eating whole foods or fasting, he would choose fasting.
Really?
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of studies with that. Fasting for brain function is huge. For burning fat, it's huge. Just for so many things, it's really important. And so there's a lot of studies, and that's why intermittent fasting right now is so popular, such a popular thing, because it does work, and it does help. And like I said, I've really never felt better, and I'm not running low on energy. And I mean, I've had my energy issues, but it's not due to my diet, because my diet's continually changing. My energy issues, I feel, come from something else. But so yeah, fasting it's more people need to do it. I mean, more people need to experiment with it. I mean, growing up in the church, it was something we did once a month, and it sucked. It was all we thought about that entire day. And then they tempt you, at church with a little bread and a little bit of water, and then the rest of the day your stomach is like, give me food. But it's something that we experimented with, and then now as I'm older, it's something that I'm familiar with, and I was able to be familiar with, and now I'm at the point where I'm at now with it. So being raised that way was a benefit to the health now, and so yeah, so there's a. I wanted to get back to your mentality. I remember what it was I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to get back to you about your mentality, because you talked about having good genetics, and you talked about being able to be as old as you are and still as active as you are. But your genetics are, I mean, you've had your fair share of injuries, and sorenesses and aches and whatever, but yet you just continue to just keep going. And Delane will roll her eyes and be like, "Oh, he's hurt. I don't know why he's out there," but you just keep going. You just keep going. You keep trying. You do what you can do as much as you can do, and that is a talent that is lost among so many people of the world. How do you do it?
Well, because I don't want to shrivel up and die. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's I mean, I'm not, I'm not a fanatic. I'm not. I don't. I'm not holding myself up as some kind of a great example of
I'll hold you
of
up.
energetic,
Yeah.
nonstop work. But I mean, I believe absolutely that. I mean, you will kill yourself. It's not, someone had told me just recently a statistic about people who after they retire they kind of move to St. George and just play golf and mess around. Those who kind of stay up here and keep doing church duties or whatever they're doing and trying and stay active, that they're living 10 years longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't quote tell you what that study is, but I believe it because and again it's going to be different for every individual. But I think just generally speaking, you just have to make that decision. Do I want to just be let myself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally just go off into the sunset, or do I want to stay active in life and keep trying and
even when it's hard.
Yeah, even when it's
you're
hard,
hurt, even when you're sore.
And you got to be smart.
Yeah.
But I'll probably have lower back pain the rest of my life. It's not something that's it's not like a ruptured disc or anything.
Thanks for giving that to me. Thanks for that.
And you just keep going and I always I've been working on your sister's house, helping her fix some things up and I after I retired I kind of didn't do much for about a year, and man I was getting this arthritis in my fingers. I mean, I'd wake up, I could hardly move my hands. But just going up there and working every day, and I'm hammering, I'm squeezing, I'm using my hands, and they still hurt, but I could just notice what a big difference. They're getting back to where they were. They'll probably always be sore, but you just have to. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep finding ways to use your mind and your body without being stupid.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how I get myself to do it. Other nights, again, I just don't want to shrivel up and die. I'm not ready for that yet. And that's what happens if you don't make that effort.
Well, everything you said right there is just taking me back to what I have always attributed to the greatest lesson you've ever taught me. And I've shared this in numerous motivational speaking engagements. Anybody who's really talked to me, anybody who's really sat down and have a conversation with me, I talk about the greatest lesson you ever taught me. And I know you know exactly which one it is. And I'm going to get to your side of it here in a minute, but I'm going to tell you my side of it. So you and Mom had been divorced for maybe 2-3 years. And I hadn't been going to church, but twice a year, the LES church has a big conference, and everybody goes to it. I mean, most people watching this know exactly what conference is because they know when conference weekends comes because the streets are flooded with white shirts and ties. But we had to go, and we went to the church building. You were going to take me to this meeting. We were going to listen to the prophet talk, and but I hadn't been going to church, and you were going to take me to my church building. Normally we were going to your church building, so it was fine because I could just disappear into the background. But now we're going to my church building that they kind of knew me, but I hadn't been going. So I was sweating bullets that someone was going to spill the beans to you that I hadn't been there. And so I was so nervous, and we got through the whole conference, and no one said anything. We left. We walked out of the building, and then someone said, "Oh, we're going to an ice cream social at the bishop's house." And you were like, "Okay, we're going over there." And I was like, no, I got out of it. I didn't get caught. Now I'm definitely going to get caught, because now we're like, it's not like the lights are turned off, we're watching something, we're socializing. I'm going to get caught. So I remember you drive over there, you got to find the guy's address. We get over there, and we're walking up, and you're holding my hand, and I just like, I break down. I'm like, I've got to do everything I can to not get into that house. I'm faking a stomach ache. My knee hurts. I've got a headache. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm losing. I'm pulling against you. And you're just like, what is, and you're like, no, we're going in there. And I just was like, I don't want to. And you pulled me close, and you got down face to face with me. You looked me right in the eye, and you said, Matt, sometimes you just have to do the things you don't want to do. And forever, those words have rung in my head. Anytime I have been in a situation where I knew I needed to do something, even though I didn't want to do it, I just heard those words over and over again. Matt, sometimes you just have to do the things you don't want to do. That is the most applicable lesson for anyone to understand. It was the most beautiful lesson for me. It was the exact words that I needed to hear in my life to make me the man that I am today. And, there's so many times people are like, how did you do that? How do you get it? How did you, how do you work so hard? How do you put so many hours in? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I say, because I have to do it. I have to do the things. Sometimes I have to do the things I don't want to do, and it needs to get done. Someone needs to do it, and I'm the man to do it. And it was, I always go back to that lesson. I always go back to those words. Did you know, at that moment, you were going to say those words to me that were going to change the trajectory of my entire life?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind of remember the event, and I know you brought that up, and obviously it's not, any groundbreaking. It's not a groundbreaking statement.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's just.
It was for me.
But so yeah, I'm glad it came at the right time for you, and but I have to. I mean, and since you've reminded me of it over the years, I've reminded myself of the same thing, because as mortal people, I mean, we always want to be comfortable. We want to be physically comfortable. We want to be where we want to be, surrounded with people that we love, eating the things we like, doing the things we want to do. I mean, that's the ideal.
Yeah.
We all want to be on vacation the whole time.
Right.
And some people, that is all they ever want to do.
Yeah.
And they will never step out of their comfort zone. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And if you can't, at least to some degree, make that part of your psyche, you're gonna have a hard, tough, disappointing life.
Because of that lesson, and it's funny you just brought up comfort, because I have been harping on everybody lately don't go with comfortable. Don't be comfortable. You don't grow in comfortable. You think of someone, they have this goal to buy the big house with the white picket fence, and they want to sit on their porch on the weekends drinking lemonade with their family. There's no growth in that. That's comfortable. That's fine. It's a good relaxing thing, but there's no growth in that. There's growth when you challenge yourself. Yeah. And that is our goal while we are here. That is what we should just be striving for, is to continually be growing, learning, experiencing. And so I thrive in challenging myself. Now I thrive in going uncomfortable. Building my own business, starting a website. I know nothing about the internet. I had to bring wonderful Nick on and so many others that I will mention later, but so many others that stepped up and helped me do that. And doing the podcast. Yes, I love talking, but I grew up very shy. I grew up very shy, and this is out of my comfort zone. But because of this, I'm growing, and so and that's added on top of 70+ hour work weeks, and being a part-time, full-time, or part-time dad, being so many other training the fighters, doing all this other stuff. On top of all that, I've added everything, and because of that, people are like, you live an insane life. And I try to text them on my schedule because they want to get together. They're like, you are insane. When do you sleep? And I'm just like, and in my mind, I'm just like, I don't want to be comfortable. I'm growing so much as a person right now. And it all goes back to those words of sometimes you just have to do the things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So, that lesson, if you taught me nothing else, which is not the case, but if you had taught me nothing else, that's all you would have needed to teach me. And on top of everything I've thanked you for, that lesson, those words right there, I am the most thankful for.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. We're going to jump into the triple threat throwdown. Nick came up with some. I had one. I had some goofy ones. We'll see what Nick came up with. Okay.
You didn't warn me about this.
No. The triple threat. Have you not been watching the podcast, Dad? Do you not know what goes? Do you not know what goes on in the podcast? Well, you don't watch it to the very end. You turn it off. You share it on Facebook.
I have not got through all of them.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
No. You haven't.
Somehow I've missed this.
You have not gone through all of an episode because
Apparently
they're in
not.
every episode.
Really? Oh,
yes,
wow.
Yes. Nick, sadly, put the triple threat throwdown up here very slowly. Yes. Okay.
I started this mission on May 21st. This is about when you started your podcast. So I've been trying to fit a lot of things in. So
good excuse.
But
blame it on Jesus.
I am definitely going to finish them.
Let's see. What is one funny? Is this about me? Is this a childhood memory about me Okay, what's a childhood memory about me that either I don't know about or I don't remember?
Oh my heavens!
Like a funny story, something I did. So obviously, when I was like Maddie's age or something.
Oh.
Which is tough because I have the greatest memory of all time.
You're killing me.
Thanks to Alpha Brain.
Well, I'm at a loss. I mean, I guess you remember the time we went up to fly fishing with the Hiltons up at their cabin up in West Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, that's one of the great memories I have.
Okay.
You out there in these big old adult fishing boots out in the middle of the river there trying to fish, and
I never got it.
Fly
fishing is not my forte.
And I don't think you really wanted to go on that trip very bad. But I
hate camping. I'm going to state that right now. I hate camping. Always have and always will. I do not like camping. And you forced me to do it way too many times as a young child. We weren't a huge camping family, but once was more than enough.
Yeah.
But
so I think
I do remember the trip.
I just think about that all the time.
I do remember the trip. I remember how fun it was. I remember playing Bloody Knuckles with my brother for about 4 hours at the end of the trip. We were just at the house. I
didn't think your brother even went. I thought it was just you and me.
Nope.
So you're coming up with the memories that I don't remember.
Well, I'm thinking we went more than once because I remember a time we went when it was just you and I.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just you and me.
Okay, but I was thinking of the time. I was thinking of the time we went up with the Hiltons, and they were up there as well.
Could be. Yeah.
And me and Mark played Bloody Knuckles forever, and I'm 8 years his younger, and I kept up with him. Next question. What's the first album you ever bought?
Oh.
and this is big because you've always been a music person.
Yeah.
He was in a band.
Yeah.
He was in a band.
I was in a band.
He was a bass player.
I can tell you it wasn't the Beatles because I was never a huge Beatles fan. I think I may have got one later, but the kind of stuff I liked was the Animals. That may have been one of my first. I used to love the Animals. Buffalo Springfield. Some of those. Would have been one of that.
Never heard of it.
Would have been one of that genre, but. The very first, it could have been a Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a bunch. But,
when did you get into the Beatles? Because us growing up, you were a Beatles fan.
I don't know. Actually, I had my close friend was a huge Beatles fan, and I think I purposely decided not to be a Beatles fan because he was so fanatical about it.
Yeah.
And I did love him, but there was just other sounds that I enjoyed much. I mean, the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I loved.
I knew the Beach.
There's probably a dozen bands I'd buy their records before I ever bought the Beatles.
Okay.
But,
All right. Next question. Who's your favorite kid? Just kidding. Just kidding. I know it's me. He says, "What are your top 3 memories from your life?" You have 3 kids, so we'll count. We're gonna knock that all out. We know you're gonna remember those.
I don't want to have to keep throwing religion back into it, but I served a 2-year mission in Australia, which was just it was like another world to me. The first time I ever been away from home, halfway around the world, and among this very British kind of people, and so I mean that memory kind of consumes a lot of my life.
Yeah.
Just in 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went on.
But you're
on
absolutely
and on.
consumed in.
So that was huge. Other memories, I've got an old memory of when I was about 5, going with my parents. We didn't, we very seldom went away on trips or anything. We went on this family reunion down to the Moab area. My uncle had a uranium mine down there, and this is kind of the first really trip I can remember with family and staying in this tent, and had a real bad experience there with my father got in some kind of an emotional thing with fight with one of his brothers, and I remember laying in the tent, listening to them scream at each other, and I was traumatized by it.
Right.
And so that's just one of the bad memories that I've never been able to shake. Fun things. I mean, that cruise that we took, with the whole first cruise that we took after I married Delane, we went down to the Bahamas.
Yep, Nassau Island.
With all of us, and that was just, I mean, that again was just that was living the dream for me, to have my kids with me, and because I'd never been on a cruise before, so that was just a great.
And we had
three
a
or
whole
4 days.
Griswold's getting in there. The plane was grounded for 5 hours. We missed our connecting flight.
Yeah, I didn't think
we had to get to Miami late. Our shuttle wasn't there.
Yeah.
Chris Farley died the next morning.
Chris Farley died. It was
a terrible way to start it. But then we got on it. And once we got on the boat, it was smooth sailing. We come back to Utah, and it is just pouring down snow. And the first thing you said is, "If that car doesn't start," and it did. It started, and we got home. Now that was an excellent memory. I'll always remember that. But again, I have the best memory out here. So I mean, should I say it again, Nick? Alpha brain. That's why I have the best memory out here, because I can remember everything. My dad challenges my memory every chance he can get.
I'm losing more and more.
You always have been.
I used to
because you always have been challenged.
No, and now it seems like I keep going down the wrong memory lane somehow.
No. So should I bring up the flip-flop situation?
No.
The flip-flop?
No.
You don't remember it?
I don't think no one wants to hear about that.
He just tried to steal some of my flip-flops.
Plus, they're called thongs. They're not flip-flops. They're thongs.
He tried to steal some of my thongs.
No.
And
you can't just make up another word and say thongs are now flip-flops. Okay. I'm sorry. I can't deal with that.
I will give you one quote. I'm going to add one more on the triple threat throwdown. So the quadruple threat throwdown today. You don't need to make a graphic for it, Nick. I'm not going to make you do it. But I'm going to let you do one quote. Because I stopped you on the Steve Martin quote. I'm going to let you do one. Because I've told everybody, as long as I've had cognitive thought in my brain, I've told people that if you talk to my dad, he's going to be quoting Seinfeld to you the entire time. And you're going to think it's regular conversation, but he's really just quoting the show. You're not actually having a conversation with him. He's just quoting Seinfeld because you have that show down.
Yeah.
And so, what is your favorite Seinfeld quote? There's so many.
Yeah, you're really pushing me to the limits there.
I know.
How much airtime can we waste here?
we got time. You're the one that's got to go home, get into bed, old man. Don't forget your jackets. One Serenity Now. I hear a lot.
Yeah. I'm coming up with a blank. I mean, I guess it'd have to be one of the Kramers when he was doing his smoke-a-thon in the room.
Yes.
And he comes in and his
face looks like an old catcher's mitt.
Yeah. And he's looking for ashtrays and matches, and so Jerry looks up and says, "What are you doing in there? You're smoking a whole lifetime in one night. Your face looks like an old catcher's mitt." And then of course Kramer, Don't look at me, I'm hideous.
Such a classic moment. I've
been able to use that line. Yeah, that catcher's mitt. An old friend of mine in church. I don't know if you remember June Belich, but he's. And one day our stake president says, "Look at this! Look how handsome this guy is." And I said, "What are you talking about? His face looks like an old catcher's mitt." So it's coming handy.
Yeah, it's coming handy. Well, I always was wondering what your favorite was because you have so many, you quote so many, I know. And this is a great show. But Dad, in behalf of Father's Day, I can't thank you enough for being my father. I can't thank you enough for all that you've taught me in my life, for the man that you've made me. I point out to people so much, like with how opposite me and my father are, we are also just that much the same. And for that, I can thank you because I love who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of the man that I've become. And I wouldn't be the man that I am without you and without your guidance. So thank you. Happy Father's Day. I love you.
I love you too, man. We're proud of you.
Everybody else out there, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you. All right, that's all we have for you. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to check out us on all our forms of social media. Don't forget to like and subscribe, to check out all other videos, and to go check out the website.